Yeah, I'm so privileged to be here with Jenny Lawson, better known as the Bloggess, and really an internet sensation. I mean, she has millions of people who come to her website every month, actually probably every day, I would think, because you're in Marie Claire. I mean, you're all over the place. And now she's written a book. It's called Let's Pretend This Has Never Happened, and it is hilarious. And the reason why it's hilarious is because you're so honest about these things that happen to you. I mean, anytime you meet somebody new, I would think that would be, you're trying to make an impression, or you think you are, and you're worried about how they're perceiving you, probably, I would guess.
That's part of it, but I have really severe social anxiety disorder, and so it makes it so much worse. I do take a lot of drugs, though, legal drugs, I did Hamfest 2012, but not that. And so I do a lot of anti-anxiety exercises, and I've done a lot of cognitive therapy and behavioral therapy and that sort of stuff, and so it's helped, but I'm still, I think, at heart an introvert.
Well, you fake it well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
I will tell my shrink, and she'll be very proud of me.
Yeah, I interviewed Carrie Fisher once.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much you know about her.
Yeah, very similar issues.
Yeah, exactly. And you could tell that something was slightly off with her, because I don't know if she had different kind of meds or her condition was
bipolar, and mine's anxiety disorder with depression.
Right.
Yes. So
okay. So here's the thing.
Slightly different cocktail, but.
Well, what was cool about her? Many things were cool about her,
right.
but one thing she said was, and this is where I know that we're online. She says, "Own your shit," and I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
But here's the thing: I was afraid to ask her. How do you look at the world? In other words, okay, here we are. We're sitting here on the grass, with the grass on our toes and the breeze and the sun and Hempfest in the background, and we're having a conversation. And I'm just thinking, wow, how cool to sit with somebody so smart and funny and witty and fearless, which is what you are.
Oh, thank you.
But what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, how am I going to get through this? And I'm thinking about all the other things that I have to do, oh my gosh, I have to actually leave here and find a car, and I have to drive back, and what if there's an accident? And so I have this constant fear in my head of all the different things, and I'm thinking this grass is slightly wet, could we be electrocuted? I think we might be. And but the good thing is that I think you get used to those kind of other voices in your mind, and you're able to sort of push them back. One of the things that has been a great help to me, actually there's two things. They were both things that Neil Gaiman told me, and one was enjoy yourself, because if you don't stop and enjoy yourself, you never will, because you're so afraid all the time. And the other thing is, and I actually have it written on my arm, pretend you're good at it. Because there's such an amazing, wonderful thing to just letting yourself go and being I can do this, even though you can't. And then suddenly you get done and you're I did do that. And it works. It's brilliant.
Is that a tattoo or is that ink?
Oh, it's ink. Yeah, I can't even get a tattoo. I'm too afraid of tattoos. Yeah. One day I'll get one, but no, I just write it on me every single damn day.
It's kind of like a daily affirmation then.
It is. Oh my God, it totally is. I'm like Stuart Smalley.
No,
I'm good enough and smart enough, and doggone it, pretend I'm good at it.
But I had a conversation with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the actor, and I asked him, so what do you attribute your success to? And he says it's kind of a scam. I mean, you project confidence and people believe it, and then it just sort of snowballs.
It's totally true. I actually used to teach people how to interview, because I used to work. You would never believe it from reading my books, which is so completely irreverent, but I used to work in HR at a nonprofit Christian organization, and I would teach people the proper way to interview and how to get a job, and I would just be just fake it. Just totally fake it. Walk in there and be I'm the best person for this damn job, and then they'll be you're the best person for this job, because nobody wants to argue with you if you've that much confidence, so it makes a big difference.
Well, and I think we want to be entertained. I think we want to be led, really. And if there's somebody who is an entertainer and then someone is a leader, we want to follow them. We want to believe what it is that they're selling us.
Exactly. Plus, it's just easier. You don't have to think. You're just oh, that person says they're good, let's do that. You just blame it on them when things go wrong.
Well, you've been through a lot of unusual things to get to the point where you are. I mean, we started talking about your dad.
Yes.
The fact that he had his own taxidermy business and dead animals, still does.
Still does.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And there's dead animals and live animals and all kinds of critters running through your house at all hours of the day and night. I mean, that's gotta mess with your head.
It totally and completely does. But you know what I think is so great is it gave me this freedom to be exactly who I wanted to be, because it was like, there's no way I'm going to be Miss Popularity. I will never be homecoming queen. I'm always going to be the weird kid in class. So if I'm going to be the weird kid in class, I might as well read zombie books all day long, and not worry about what people are going to say about me, because they're already talking bad about me. So in a way, my dad kind of gave me a really wonderful gift, although at the time I did not think of it that way at all.
So when did you realize that you had a voice that would resonate? Because, I mean, your experience of being the outcast or not fitting into, prom queen or whatever, I mean, there seems to be more people like you than people like the prom queens.
I started writing when I was a kid, because the anxiety disorder, before it was diagnosed, I couldn't really talk. I was so severely shy. And so I kind of got to the point where I only had a voice on this journal that I would write in. And so I kind of found my voice there because I had no other choice. And so when I found blogging, it was like, oh my God, I can actually go out and speak to people without leaving my house. And that was such a wonderful thing. I mean, without the internet, I would still be that scared girl with the journal sitting in the corner.
Or maybe you might have a newspaper column.
Exactly. Well, that's possible. I actually did have a newspaper column, and I kept getting in trouble for writing really irreverent things. And so eventually I was like, you know what? I should get a blog. That's what I should do. So I can say the F word with the impunity. It's nice.
Well, how irreverent was your newspaper article? What things would you write about?
It wasn't really that bad. I mean, I wrote about these dolls that came out that were just really slutty dolls, and I called them prostitutes, and and I think they probably advertised with the paper, which I think was probably the reason why my editor was like, we cannot print this, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know, being funny. He was like, oh, you can be funny, but let's take it down a notch. But I wanted to take it up a notch. I was like, no, let's keep going. Let's make it bigger and bigger. And so I did it. And I was shocked to find that people actually not only related, but sort of celebrated this weird voice, because they kind of were able to see, oh my God, I'm not the only one. And I think that was the big thing. I think that was the big change, when people were like, I thought I was the only one who thought that Jesus was a zombie because he came back from the dead. Oh my God, now I'm not going to hell, or if I am, I'm going to hell with this other 1,000 people who all said, me too, me too.
Yeah,
So
what is it, heaven for the climate, hell for the company?
Exactly.
But the analogies that you make, I mean, the prostitutes or Jesus was a zombie, where do you make these connections? Have you always been able to do that? Or do you just let your brain spin and this is what comes out?
Yeah, the things that are in my head are so much weirder than the things that come out of my mouth. And so typically I will write all of this really weird stuff, and maybe 1 in every 10 things I'll be like, that's okay enough that I could share and nobody's going to get mad at me. So it's even stranger inside.
Okay, we're online. How strange is it? Like, give me an example.
Oh my God. Right now, all I can think is, I wonder how many worms are underneath us. I bet there's millions of worms. And actually what I'm really thinking of is, I'm thinking of that David Starris story where the worm got in that lady's leg and then it came out of her leg, and then all I can think is, we're going to have worms in our legs. That's my thought. Right?
Eventually we will.
We will, exactly. Damn it, full circle.
Now, how can you be in a relationship with all of this? Yeah, because the things that you're in your book that you write about with your husband, Victor, the guy's got to be a saint, or how does it work?
He is, first of all, he's really good at ignoring me. He doesn't read the blog. He doesn't really read the book. He doesn't have anything to do with that. He is my complete opposite. He's super conservative, and he's very responsible. He's never afraid of anything. And so I think we kind of give each other the strengths that the other one doesn't have. And I think what's also really helpful is when I start to feel like, oh my God, the world's going to end. This is the end of oh my God, this is it. This is it. Something terrible is about to happen. He's like, oh, you're just crazy. And I'm like, oh, I'm just crazy. I'm just crazy. I'm fine. Yeah. And he's right.
And does that mean that you then go back to your doctor and say, give me a different cocktail? Or, I mean, how do you respond?
Part of it is trying to find the right drug combination, but I think part of it is just kind of getting in touch with the fact that I'm always going to be off, and that crazy is not necessarily a bad thing, that there's some great things that come with crazy. So yeah, and being able to recognize it, I think, is a wonderful gift. I'm very, very lucky because I think the truly crazy people can't recognize that they're crazy, and I think I can look at it and be like, I can't say that out loud because that's what a crazy person would say. So it just stays in my head. So I'm able to kind of protect everyone from my crazy.
But doesn't it also give you a license at the same time?
Oh,
something to hide behind?
It totally does. What's really great is when doing the tour, I have every single time that I go out, I immediately want to hide. And what's so great is I know that if I want to, I could hide behind the podium and that everyone in the audience would be like, oh, it's totally fine. Take your time. It's okay. As a matter of fact, probably like 100 people would stand up and be like, we have drugs. Would you like some? And there's something really wonderful. Exactly, yes. But there's something so wonderful about having a community so behind you like that.
So you definitely feel like you are not alone through all of this.
Absolutely. When I came out about I came out first about anxiety and depression, which are the most difficult ones for me. And when I came out about it, I really felt like people would be afraid and I would lose my audience, but I just thought, I can't not tell about it because I'm creating this false history. And I was so shocked that it was actually one of my most commented posts of so many people saying, oh my God, me too. I thought I was alone. And then there were so many people who came out later who said that they decided to actually get help, not because of the post, but because they saw this amazing response of this community behind them. And I actually have a folder that has 25 emails in it from 25 people who were on the path to suicide and decided not to simply because of the response of the community. And I think that's so amazing.
Wow, so you are a saint too, it sounds like.
I am not. It is the community. It is totally the community.
Do you see yourself as maybe taking this on as a cause sometime?
Yeah, I think so. I actually am working on book 2, and book 2 does have a lot more to do with mental illness. It's still the same like quirky, irreverent humor, but I think there haven't been enough books that have kind of laughed at mental illness, and there's something about laughing at this giant monster, this terrifying monster, that you laugh at it and it becomes this like such a smaller demon that's so much easier to deal with.
Well, a friend of mine is a brain scientist, and he says that 1 out of 102 people worldwide has undiagnosed schizophrenia.
Really?
And does it ever occur to you that it's pretty amazing that our society functions as well as it does, considering there's so many people who are nuts?
I think it's awesome. And what I think is really great is, you meet these people like my husband, who's amazing and wonderful, but a little bit of a sociopath. And not...
Wait. Say more about that.
Well, just in the way that he's an executive,
okay.
And, they say that, like, most, like 50% of all vice presidents or something are sociopaths. And that's because they have these mild sociopathic tendencies that allow them to look at things from a very, very removed sort of state, and they don't get super empathetic and super compassionate, but instead they're kind of visionaries. And they say that most visionaries do have sociopathic tendencies, and they're not murderers, but I think everybody has this different thing. Like for me, for my anxiety, I think it has really increased my empathy level and my compassion level, and I think I'm really aware of like other people's emotions, which I think is why my husband and I get together so well, because he's like, you know what, back it up, crazy. And I'm like, you know what, feel a little, and so between the two of us, we make this perfect couple together. And I think the world is like that. You need to have people who are on, every level of the autism spectrum and every level of the mental illness spectrum, and, because that's how we get our art and our writing and everything.
Have you ever wanted a relationship that was pretty even keel? Because it seems like it's up and down, You're fighting, and then you're really, really close, and then you fight, and then you're close again. It's kind of bipolar.
It is. It totally is. No, I love it exactly the way that it is. I mean, I think the reason that we've been married for almost 17 years is because it's always exciting. It's always something new. We always have something to talk about because we disagree about everything. I mean, he's this, ultra-conservative, Republican, responsible guy, and I'm just so completely the opposite. And so I think it totally works. I mean, when you come right down to it, if you want somebody who's exactly like you've got friends for that, You got friends to be like, your husband's crazy. I'm like, I know he's crazy. And he has the same friends who say the exact same thing. So, yeah.
Is there anything in life that you'd like to do that you haven't done yet?
Oh my gosh. I would like to see Egypt. I really do. I really want to see it, but I'm terrified of traveling. So I don't know that it'll ever happen. But one day I will take enough drugs that I will wake up and I'll be like, I made it. I'm in Egypt. But yeah, I kind of have done everything that I want. I'm super lucky. All the things that I've really wanted to accomplish have sort of happened, which is kind of awesome.
Can I tell you a secret?
Sure.
You can spend the night inside the Great Pyramid. Well,
Down.
so
Really?
yeah. So how do you imagine that going if you were to spend the night inside the Great Pyramid?
Oh my god. Okay, well, first of all, I would have like my EMF detector, and I would be doing like ghost readings, and I would like to have Josh from Destination Truth like there as well, and have like his whole team. Oh my god, that would be so awesome. I would probably bring a mummy with me. Like, I heard that there's a place called Ye Olde Curiosity Shop that has a mummy, so I would probably be like, can I borrow your mummy just to take it back? It'll be carry-on, and it'll be fine. Or I'll buy a seat for him and he can sit next to me and it'll be great. And then we'll take him back and we'll try like a seance, and oh my god, that would be awesome. Let's do that.
Let's do that. Jenny Lawson is the author of Let's Pretend This Never Happened, the Bloggess. She's amazing. She is fearless. And I am honored to be sitting here on the grass on top of the worms with you.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
This was fun. Thank you.
Yay!
Yay. And you're done.
We did it.
And you're done.
Yay!